Welcome into another Musings from the Mind of tutorial where we're going to look at making a wax shader and a flickering flame. And with that said, let's jump in to Blender. We're going to do File, New, General. Now let me tell you real quick, the way I have my setup done, by default, it opens up with a world shader that is an HDRI. I got from HDRI Haven, and I'm using a light path so that when I add an object, I have some basic lighting, but my background is black. So with that said, let's add a mesh monkey, or you can add whichever mesh you want to. I'm going to hit shade smooth. I'm going to hit 3 on the keypad, R for rotate, and I'm going to rotate it to where it looks like it's maybe laying flat on a table. Then I'm going to tab in here, right click, subdivide, and then I'm going to grab this center vertex here, turn on smooth proportional editing, and I am going to GZ. Let's bring this in a little because I just wanted to form this part like it's melted a little bit. Then I'm going to switch to face select. I'm going to hit C, and I am going to select all of these faces that were deformed. Hit escape. I'm going to hit I to inset. I'm going to inset that just a little bit. Well, actually, first I want to turn off proportional editing. GZ and drop it just a smidge so we get that good deformed texture there. I'm going to tab out of here and I'm going to do Shift A. I'm going to add a mesh cylinder. And we're going to scale that guy way down. And let's bring him up here. Let's see, get Z. There we go, right there. He's kind of coming out just a little bit. We're going to tab into edit mode. And I am going to select, with face select, I am going to select the top of this guy. There we go. Yep, got the top. Okay. So go back into here and extrude Z. I'm going to extrude Z again. I'm going to hit G to pull it over just a little bit. Extrude Z, pull it up just a little bit. Extrude Z a little bit. And we're going to get that way. My wick is just a little bent. And I'm going to move this into the center. So hitting 7 to get to the top. And then right there. That's sticking up way too much though, so we're going to get Z and take it into the mesh a little bit. Get Z right there. Rotate it just a little bit. I'm being a little nitpicky on where I want that wick to be. But with that said, we've got our basic model set up. And so what I want to do now is jump into shading. Let's join these areas. I don't need this. Join these areas. All right, so I'm going to switch my shader to object, new. And then what I want to do here is I am going to get rid of this guy. Shift A. I'm going to add a mix shader. Put that here. I'm going to do Shift D because I'm going to mix a couple of things here. Make sure this one goes into the top here. I want to add a subsurface scattering, and that is going to go into this shader right here. We're going to change this from Random Walk to Christian Burley. And then I want to add a couple of shaders. I want to add a glossy. And I want to add a diffuse. All right. these guys here and here. Let's jump over to the shader so we can kind of see what's going on. We've done a lot, but we're using this base white, so we need to add an RGB to add some color in here. And I am going to use kind of an off yellow, kind of waxy color. You can obviously use any color you want to. And I'm going to plug the color into here. I'm going to plug the color into here. And I'm going to plug the color into here. And I just realized I selected my wick instead of my thing. So I'm going to go over here, select the candle, and I'm going to change the candle to the material. So look at that now. We're getting some good waxy looking texture here, and I'm going to just add one more thing. I'm going to add a Voronoi, and we're going to take the distance and we're going to put it into the factor of this shader here. And I'm going to change this to 0.75, and I'm going to change this to 0.3 on the roughness. And I kind of got the shader like I like it. I'm going to also jump up here for our lighting in our EV settings. We're going to do blooms for our flame, and then I want to go down here to color management. And under look, I want to go to medium to high contrast, because when I render this, I want these ridges to snap pretty good. Now, as far as the wick goes, I am just going to click here. So this is its own material, and I'm going to jump over to here, and I am just going to I'm going to add a material, and it's just going to be black. And let's go while we're on our wick, and let's just pick black, and let's remove this guy. And now we've got our black wick, and we've got our now let's add our flame. So I'm going to hit 3. I'm going to shift A, and we're going to add a mesh. No, I'm sorry, I did not want to use a UV sphere. We're going to shift A, and we're going to add a icosphere. Right here, I'm going to do the subdivisions to 4. We're going to scale this guy way down. Bring him up here. Let's get him on top of that wick right there. Does it look good? Let's do Control 1, and let's bring him down a little bit further on the wick. We're going to hit Tab. I'm going to hit center of the top. Well, it changes back to vertice select. I'm going to select the center of the top, and I am going to turn on proportional editing. This time I'm going to use sharp, and I'm going to get Z, and I just want to make this guy kind of a teardrop shape. And then what we're going to do is we're going to jump over here. We're going to add a Displacement Modifier. We're going to add a new texture to that. We're going to jump into the texture. The texture we want to use is marble. We've got some good geometry there, but it's probably a lot more powerful than we want to be. So let's go back in here. Let's change the strength to 0.2, which gives us a little more of a flame look. And then what we're going to do is we're going to quickly animate the flicker. And what we'll do is we'll change the coordinates to object, and then we're going to shift A, add an empty, a plane axis, and let's click back on our icosphere, and under object, let's select the empty. And again, let's go to the empty, and now we're going to animate this flicker. So I want to go to Z. We're going to add a control to it, so just pound frame. But I want my flicker to be a little slower, so I'm going to divide the frame count by 25. And if you watch, you can see that flame flickers. You can adjust how that flicker is going to be by adjusting that frame count. So let's select on our icosphere again, And let's start shading this guy. So the first thing I want to do is I want to remove that uh, uh, shader there, and we're going to add a mix shader, and I am going to go there, and then we want to add a I want to add a transparent shader, and I'm going to put that guy to right here, and I'm going to add another mix shader right here. I'm going to put it right there, and then I want to add a layer weight, and we're going to use the facing right here, and I'm going to do about a 0.9. And now let's start building the color into here. So let's do Shift A and do a emission shader. And we're going to put that guy right here. And we're going to put that emission at about 0.5. I'm not 0.5, but 5. Then we're going to add a color ramp. And in that color ramp, we are going to add a gradient texture. And then what I want to do is with the gradient texture selected, if you have node wrangler enabled, we're going to hit Control T, which is going to add a mapping and a texture coordinate. If not, you can just add those individually. Let's change this to object to vector. And then what we want to do is we want to get this black towards the top of the frame. So I believe that's going to be our y-axis. Okay, I got the black on the top. Now what we want to do is we want to scale the X to where the black is almost at the tippy top. And then let's go over here and let's add a couple of points here. And let's start with the first one. We're going to do black, but we're going to set the alpha to 0. And then let's go over here on the far end and let's make this a red. And then let's do this guy, let's make him a dark orange. And maybe this guy will do a little bit of yellow. And then let's kind of get where is really not getting this like I want it. Let's up the scale a little bit. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Let's go back to 1. That's still not what I want. Let's tone this color down a little bit. There we go there. And let's get you all the way to the tippy top here. Let's change you to maybe 5. There we go. All right. Now then, what I want to do is I want to copy all of everything up to the emission shader. Shift D. We're going to move it up to here. And then we are going to put this down into the second part of the shader. But what I want to do is I want to Control S. No, that's save. I want to Shift S, and I want to switch this to a magic texture. And I want the scale to be about 10. I want the depth to be about a 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to jump over here into our material settings, and we're going to change this to alpha blend. And look at that. We have our flickering flame texture. And what we can do then, if we're ready to um, render this, then we can kind of get this where we want. We're going to do Shift A, add a camera, Control Alt 0, rotate. I got it right there. And then as we get ready to animate, let's just go make sure our EV settings, you did turn on bloom, you did turn on color management, high to medium contrast. Then we'll just jump out here and select our folder, switch this to FFmpeg, and jump down here to MP4, and we're ready to go. I hope this was helpful. If you have any tips on how to make the flame or the wax better, please make a comment. Please like and subscribe. And as I try to learn things, I make these videos and hope they can help others. Till next time.